just want to know, does the audio work? You're hearing myself as well. So for some reason, it just keeps muting the entire stream every time I try to just turn the monitoring off. It can be helped. I really would like to be able to hear when any kind of prompt comes in, like thank you First Lieutenant Noguchi and Dougie359 for following, for example. Like if I can hear that coming through with my headphones, that'd be great, but it's just really hard to talk when you're hearing yourself the entire time as well. So I don't know why that just doesn't want to work, but I'll have to make do without having any headphones for the time being. It just means I have to keep my activity feed in check. And I hope you've all, if done correctly, you should all have some nice new emotes to work with for first-time followers as well. So Sycamore Streams and Lighty. I hope you'll enjoy your time and use the emotes as you see fit. I just took some nice from the Meet the Heroes page artists illustrations, the one Sharena makes. So yeah, doing a lot better. I was sick, and after I got sick, it was weird. Like this was kind of it's called a grabbelton, and like it's you put your hand in and you just rummage through it and you like draw a lottery ticket or whatever, but it was kind of like that, just with the symptoms. I on one day had a fever and a headache. The second day I lost my sense of balance, like my ears just didn't want to work, they were popping the entire time. Runny nose the third day, sore throat the fourth day. It was just the whole shebang, but like all of them split over multiple days. It was really, really strange. And then when I finally got better, I just had to take a small break because there was a big event here in the community where they had a performance with like an entire play, and I was bartending, helping there. So yeah, took a little bit, but in the meantime the escape room video did exceptionally well, and we reached 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. Oh, hello, cute cat. You might get some company in just a moment. But yeah, I reached 1,000 subscribers, and that was absolutely amazing. Didn't expect it to go that quickly. And now we have some nice magic animation videos coming up, and hopefully a few more just shorts coming out. They fell to the wayside a little bit because of sickness and then just general busyness. Also, I got this cup and it's so adorable. It's a really small bear or cat, whatever you want to call it. It's just very cute. I don't know why. It's at one point while I was still chefing, I had to order some of those cups with like the barrier with the air inside them, so that you could use them for like a nice display for a kind of food. It was an espresso made of pumpkin. And yeah, that was... I needed a little bit more, and I was able to get free shipping if I ordered some more stuff. So I ordered this really cute mug. and I'm quite fond of it. How's it going, your resident liability? Hope you're doing well. Garrett and Mirror Samurai as well, of course. Nice to see you back. Professional procrastination strikes as usual. You should get your issue with the escape room copy figured out. Like, what's your current issue? Anything related to the ROM not working, or is there something else? Or is it just you not being able to get through the escape room? Because that also could be the case. Let's see. And yeah, we shouldn't have ads for like over an hour. I have my ad manager here. Or no, for 45 minutes. We've been going for a little bit as well already. But I'll either snooze them or just go to the Be Right Back, get some tea myself. Better to just get them out of the way with a big chunk. But the first, like, just having 3 ads while my your stream is starting soon screen is running and not having to do anything, like, nobody needs to look at that. So that seems like a good idea. Like, thank you, Bezos, for just having the ads run during the least important part of the entire stream. Yeah, there's like all kinds of stuff, like executive dysfunction and other terminologies that came across with like ADHD. Sometimes when you, like, the fact that when you're lying on the couch or whatever and you just can't do anything, it's not a lack of not being able to, not wanting to do anything, it's the wanting to do a lot of things and just being overwhelmed. And I know I've known a few people with that, and like what you're saying right now, I can relate, or rather not I can relate, but I know how you feel. It always prompts me to make a new save when I copy yours in, and then when I try anyways, it says there's an issue with the FE9 save. Oh, that's interesting. So you followed the instructions with right-clicking the FE9 ISO and then just copy-pasting the Wii save folder in, or are you trying to import it with through Dolphin with the tools application where it's, or is it tools? Let's see, options, or yeah, the tools and then import Wii save. That's for .bin files. If you right-click your ISO when you see it like in the Dolphin screen, you can go to open Wii save folder and you should be able to just paste it in. Also, we'll go to a nice screen because I do have a few things set up already. So I may have added a lot of units. We have 74 out of 14 characters deployed. We can select minus 60 more, which is not entirely what's it supposed to do. But that's okay. Currently, the Black Knight's here. He was actually stuck on 0 HP for a while. But I thought we may as well bring him in here as well, because he, of course, is going to have some skills as well as a playable unit. And yes, you won't be able to hammer him anymore. He will have Nullify. Like, Nullify is one of the things I am... Although I am a great advocate of the hammer strat for vanilla Radiant Dawn, I don't think it's a satisfying conclusion. It's a funny conclusion, but it's not satisfying in the sense that they're trying to, like, evoke the grand battle. But in the end, with Eclipse just doing 38 times 5 plus 18 might, which is like 208 damage to the dome if you don't have Nihil or parity. Like, mostly Nihil, because you can still get eclipsed on enemy phase with parity. That just forces Nihil on Ike, and that's just a smack, 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 and there's no fun in that. Yeah, I also wondered why they removed the blessing. It's very interesting, your resident liability. If you want, we can like maybe go through a Discord voice chat at some point and I can see what the issue is. Anyway, we have a few units and currently they mostly have their weapons. Apparently we also have a coin. We have our L-Stone, Arkstone, and some really fun new tomes. Then Leonardo has his base inventory. We have a lot of the weapons. This is quite cool. Like currently there's fist and kicks and more fists and more fists and... Well, Kurvnaga is transformed. So where is he? He's a big boy. He already has his breath attack. Also, yes, I am apparently an advocate for animal cruelty, as Raisin said in the escape room video. Kick Nialucci, Oh, hey, Nisala doesn't have his weapon. We kick Janap, we kick Alki, we kick Vika. And here you can see, like, Vika actually is able to use her weapons currently, because she has the brawler skill equipped, but it's like, it's currently a hidden skill. So yeah, many characters. Let's see, where were we? Vika was the latest one. Warren, Hawking, Tabarn, Mordecai. I added a few skills here and there already. Like the intent I have is add all the skills, then take a look at which skills should be personal or should be equipable and unequipable by certain characters and certain races. We have the Hunting Mood and Riled Up, for example. Nullify, Form Shift. After that, there's like a lot of stuff that I have to look at. Form Shift and Half Shift not being able to be on the same unit, for example. Like all those kinds of Morale Shift and Valor Shift and Hymn Shift being mutually exclusive. Blessing, Remedy. Beguiling is here, Independence is here. Intimidate, I really would have loved to make this work, but it didn't work the way I intended to, so I don't think this is going to actually end. The description is probably not going to be reality in the end. What else do we have? Fighting Dirty, Soul, actually a specific version of Soul for our boy Renning. The True Blades, like many characters. Arms Thrift and Scavenge. What else do we have? Shelter is here, Bitter Rival. Many of these skills need to be coded as well, and a lot of the characters here actually have skills that are currently invisible. So there's much to be done before I can actually release this as a sandbox, but it's getting there. There's progress. If we go and start the map, I would like to show that currently Soth has that one skill that was supposed, like I made this during streaming, it was supposed to pick up a character and then drop them off. And if I currently have the map start, I'll make save state because I want to go back to that. But if I currently start the map, Soth is a big boy. He is a very big boy. This man is able to carry a not full-grown dragon, but a hefty dragon. Like we start the map and you can see, whoop, he gets picked up immediately. And you'll be able to see, like, this is going to be a lot of stuff. This is the rank up mechanic. This was originally created by Dunal, not by me. I don't know if I'm going to keep it like this, or if I'm going to, or rather, I'm not going to keep it like this in any way, but I might modify to fit Daybreak better. But I would honestly prefer to just make it so that the experience curve is a little bit better, but it's been really difficult to even find like the 10 experience that Soth gets from his steel. And if that doesn't even work, then if I can't find that, then it's a dire situation, because then modifying the entire XP curve for the Lagoose is going to be a big problem. And Skrymir should be the last one. Yes, we get Bane. We rank up. Yeah, Skrymir is the last one. There's a lot of stuff that currently doesn't make sense in here. The tide skills have limited uses, I think. Where is my... Oh, right, I removed Blood Tide from you. We have Gareth. Where are my dragons? Probably better to find them through here, to be honest. Gareth. Blood Tide. I don't know exactly what you mean with the tide skills have limited uses. Like, what do you mean by that? Because these currently work just as intended with... currently, let's see, we have Nasir and Enna who have, like, White Pool and Blood Tide, which both buff up Gareth for 5 on all of these stats. You saw a number next to one of them. That may have been the case. Like, if you mean with Form Shift here, that's the capacity. And things like Bane, this is the cooldown system. Like, those are the cooldown icons. And I probably want to make them a little bit clear. I don't know if there's any... Yeah, like Shock, these are capacity. Many of this is currently still really cluttered because, for example, Shock should also have a cooldown icon next to them, as Luna has right now. So we have Soth, and let's just casually drop a dragon. I've made it so that the entire map currently is pretty much enemies are aggressive, but they don't move. Enemies are going to stay where they are, except when they get to like low health, and I think they then go into heal AI. I may change that. I might just also give them a lot of concoctions or elixirs. Come on. And there's like currently what's most of the most interesting stuff are pretty much the mages still, because they have like the most interesting weapons, especially Peleus, who is somewhere here. He's actually on one of like the original deploy squares because he was on the previous map. Yes, they are standing there menacingly. Careful now, guys. Like, he looks so big in that entire CG and ooh, Christ, and in the cutscene, and then he's not that big here. Oh, we got a crash. There's still a lot of stuff that needs fixing. Oh, right. This is one of the annoying parts of the rank up system. If you have a lot of them, they rank up. And they do it every single time. It's so weird that you're... Like, I'm still wondering, your resident liability, about what's causing the issue for you. But I wouldn't know what the problem would be. Let's see, we have... What I want to show right now is... Oh, nice. The Miasma Tome, which was one of the things we, of course, ended last time with, and which I gave a showcase for. Currently, as you can see, it has 3 might, 70 hits, 0 crit, and 33 weight. it's a very heavy tome. However, when you kill an enemy, not when you battle with them, I believe, only when you kill an enemy. Yeah, still the same. When you kill an enemy, it actually powers up. You just stand here. And I hope he doesn't go into heal AI right now, because then I have a slight problem, because I won't be able to catch up to him. Okay, we're good. So 3 might, 70 hit. And after this combat, it should grow in power a little bit. It does not. Then apparently there's something still wrong with the skill. Because everything is pretty much done through the code. Which I can grab here. Let's see. Miasma. Oh, I know why it is. So this is actually quite interesting. I'll switch over to the teaching display for just a moment. Get rid of the skills, get rid of Paragon. So we'll go through the code. We have a definition, and in this case the definition is miasma. We have our general, we loop through every playable unit, and then we check if they have the miasma item. And then if we also have that equipped, then we delete that item and we add item miasma 1, which is like the powered up version. I'll still like think about it a little bit, but if in any case, you can always just send me a DM and we can talk it out, see if we can come to a solution to your problem, your resident liability. And if you're going to bed, then sleep well. This pretty much just loops. Like, we search for miasma 1, if we equip it, we delete, and we add miasma 2, and then we equip miasma 2 as well. We go through this entire thing because this is a definition, and those definitions come into they come into place whenever you have a callback, and you can use a callback and then just have this definition in here, and it'll pretty much just perform this piece of code whenever you call for it. Currently, when we kill a unit that is called PID Goon, we go through this entire list because there's like a lot of definitions here, which is also the miasma 1. However, because we have Goon, Hugo as the only two, that means that currently it doesn't do anything, because the unit we killed was, I believe, and I may as well just change this right now. I believe it was like a Colbert or something like that. I don't know what the internal name for them is, but it's the Colbert army from Valtome, which of course isn't PID Goon, so yeah, it doesn't work. So it's Colbert 133, 35... I guess I may as well just try this right now. Now it should just work on every single unit on the map. Okay, and we'll try again. So, small update with your fan game. I mean, you can always tire out about making stuff for it. Hello, cat. And that's okay. Just take a break every now and then. That's why, like, I try to work on other stuff as well, like the escape room, stuff like that. Just because it's still relevant and I can still use stuff for it, but it keeps my mind on other things as well. You're way too much of a neat freak to properly replicate the intentional imperfections of of growth rates. Are you going to include fixed mode? Is that what you're aiming for, or is it something else? Let's see, we'll try again with Peleus. At least I know that the enemies there won't move. Let's see, you think whenever you want to get back to the fan game, you definitely want to focus on the artistic side of things. Artistry is not my kind of jam. Like, I just don't feel comfortable doing digital art or drawing or anything like that. Cat, please. I am very glad for the existence of AI art in the fact that it can make really cool stuff for the people that don't have the time and aren't talented enough for it. I dislike, of course, a lot of the things that currently go hand in hand with AI art. The not safe for work stuff that can be used as revenge porn and blackmail material, or the fact that a lot of the AI models are trained on art that has been stolen. However, I also do see the positives, and it will allow me to create new units for Radiant Dawn because of the Senrikita artwork being able to be replicated. So, if done correctly, I now have the PID changed so that whenever a unit is killed, just a random unit, the Miasma tome will rank up. This was one of the things I was able to work on during the time that I was sick. As you can see, it currently has 3 might, 70 hits, 0 crit. And if we kill the unit now, and of course that's 33 weight, very important. But now we kill a random unit, and that will allow us to loop through this miasma definition. And if done correctly, still not done correctly, then I don't know what's currently going wrong. It was working on the previous map. I can show it there, I guess. This is pretty much why every single map has its own trickery, because I know that it works here. And I know that there's plenty of units you can test it out with, because if I go through this, you will notice that there are a lot of enemies and they are all the exact same Myrmidon. You might even be able to see the very thick shadow that this one Myrmidon casts. If I target this guy, you can see that the models are swapped. There's just a lot of units on that one space. It's some kind of shadow clone jitsu. So now we should have the effect working. And this is luckily the only one that drops a coin. So now you can see it turned into a tome with 5 might, 75 hit, 4 crit and 30 weight. Big question, can I shove Peleus? I cannot. But I can probably with Iran. And we'll turn map animations off. So here we have the second combat, the third combat, fourth combat. It's pretty much going to power up the entire thing in one go. And these, of course, they all have 22 HP, so you won't be able to see the difference right now. But pretty much every time this Peleus kills a unit with this tome, his tome gets swapped out, he equips a new version, and that one is going to be stronger than the one before. Which means that if you get 10 kills with this one tome, you will have pretty much a legendary weapon on your hands. Radiant Dawn, of course, has like long drawn out enemy phases, and I will try to scale those back a little bit, but the grand feeling of like a big war is still something that Radiant Dawn offers. I think this might be the... No, there's still more to come. But yeah, just the grand skill means that there will be many enemies on certain maps, and on those maps, for example the desert, which will have like, it's mostly open terrain, it will be really nice to be able to have a tome that allows you to power up over the course of the battle. As we can see now, this tome, oh, works only on player phase. That's a mistake in that case. So we did that all for nothing. Maybe it's not a mistake. Maybe that's better. Maybe you can only get it on turn 10. However, if we kill an enemy now, we should have 7 might and 80 hit. Nope, because that's also not a goon. It's very tricky. Like, you have to take every single PID into account. This one should definitely handle it though. Nope, also not. Then is it the... Interesting. That is very interesting. I don't know why it isn't working on all enemies. Did I remove some of them? You can see that it was working on, like, the first one. We powered it up once. Maybe if I tried with the... Oh, no, that's the wrong save file. I haven't found a way to make battle animations play on player phase but not enemy phase. I mean, you could technically turn animations off, and there's like a button you can press that allows you to play animations, I believe. I don't have access to that right now because I'm working on a non-clear data file, so I don't even have the animations off property. So we deal 28 damage, 93 hits. And after the first one, we power up. So then these are all carbon copies of that first enemy, so this should work. Yeah, there we go. 7 and 80. So it does work, it just means that I haven't allowed the definition to work for every single kind of enemy on the map. Christ, my face is bright. Cat, could you please... Do we really have to remove the curtains every single time? That's a bit far. That's better. So let's see, where were we? Yes, you're very cute. I know, you're adorable. So we should go to like 9 might by now. And yeah, 9 might, 85 hit. Pretty much it means that the more you kill enemies, the stronger it gets, the lighter it gets more crit. So it becomes more and more worthwhile, but it does, like, even after, let's see, 3 to 5 to 7, 9, 11, even after 4 attacks, it still weighs 21. Which is still very heavy. So yeah, it's pretty much, it's not entirely connected to Nosferatu and Resire, but it still does have like that kind of soul-stealing idea. So yeah, it really feels like a Dark Tome, like you're stealing essence from the enemy. Yeah, the quantities of FE10 do make it a slog. There are a few things that can be done about this First Lieutenant Noguchi. As I said, you can turn animations off, and then there is a button, I believe it's the Z button, but I can't show it here. And that allows you to selectively, if you hold it when a combat starts, it actually goes into the entire animation cycle. Not like the on map, but the entire battle. You should be able to view it. So that's just that already exists in Radiant Dawn. but I have found out, and I showed this in a previous stream, that I'm probably able to speed up some of the animations that happen during battle as well, like the walking of the armor knights and the throwing of the javelin. Those are going to be able to speed up. Even if it's just like a tiny bit, it is going to make a big difference. Flare, of course, here works as intended. Let's see. Talking as in growth total, like, I like that fixed mode exists, but it's not my favorite. Like, this, I believe, is the breakpoint for, like, the... This is the halfway point, which is, like, a decent tome. 13 mind, 95 hit, 20 crit. But you can go even further than that. Like, you can end up at, I believe it's 23 might, 120 hit, 40 crit, and 3 weight. Which is, of course, a very strong weapon. Like, that is better than most legendary weapons, probably. But it takes 10 kills on player phase currently to get to that. And if you get to that point, you've probably pretty much cleared the map by that point. So I don't think it's going to be a massively overpowered weapon in that case. Like, you could get there on turn 5 if you dance for your... miasma user every single time. So I guess that's the thing, but still 5 turns is generally enough to like pretty much get far into a map that you don't really need to use much more, and you've got like 2 or 3 turns maybe left after that. I'm glad I'm getting close to the end, got all the 300 new weapons done, that's really good. Like, I am nowhere near that far, so you're going at a way higher pace than I am currently. Supports created as well. Oh yeah, that's right, I saw this in the topic. Like, I was reading through the FE7 or the FE8R. Like, it's made... Your account was FE7 Dragon or something like that on FE Universe, right? Where you've got... I saw the first pair-up images as well, like, while I was sick, I believe. And yeah, speeding up is definitely a good call. Like, there is still some ground to gain for that. I wish I would eventually be able to... you shouldn't be able to proc flare now. But I wish I would be able to eventually, like, change model rigs, change animations, that the armor knights, for example, move way faster, that they run like the Black Knight runs in that one cutscene where he fights Ike. 15 might, we're getting there. Come on, let me just end turn. $17. You can see that it becomes a pretty powerful weapon. Like 43 times 2, of course, these are tier 1 enemies. Peleus is tier 3, but still. And I also have one other weapon to show. However, that's going to take a little while because the hit rates aren't great. I still need to be hit. He doesn't have Fighting Dirty anymore. Yeah, he's in doubling range because he currently has, like, the weight has been reduced that much. So eventually, if you have, like, if the weight becomes less and less and less, it becomes a better weapon. So we'll see, yeah, we see Dark Charm activate, which took away 16 XP. However, if we kill an enemy, I believe I don't have the weapon on me, and it's on Iran. We have Nosferatu. I wasn't able to just give it the Resire effect, but we got close enough. It deals a flat 40. I probably activate Flare here as well. Yeah, so I'm going to heal some from Flare, and then afterwards you'll see that I also, after combat, still heal some or HP. I believe it's like 30%. Yeah, with a small animation. So those were some of the Dark Tomes that I was working on, like, while I wasn't streaming, while I was sick. glad to get those working. I have a few more ideas. Like, I like these more interesting weapons than just iron, silver, or iron, steel, silver. Bronze included as well, slim weapons. Yeah, just especially like currently my favorite is probably still the Shine Barrier one, but these still use the stats of the weapons in interesting ways. Like currently it's only 9 weight. He is still, even as a level 3 canter, he is still weight down by 3 currently, but that's enough for him to double. And I guess we can just max it out anyways. We're like 2 combats away. The stats of course can still change. These might not be final. But if we kill a unit, or if we kill 10 units, then you end up with a Miasma Tome that has 23 might, 120 hit, 40 crit, and 3 weight. Like, this thing can tear through enemies. It's a very strong weapon, but it takes a long time to get there. Yeah, some people weren't fond of Dark Charm, although like I saw the messages in the Discord as well. One person didn't actually read it correctly, which, like, small change. It was close, so not the biggest problem. And that's pretty much like, people can say currently I don't like it, that's fine. It might not be final. It might take experience, like it might give twice the HP compared to the experience. It might give 3 times, or it might just cost 15 XP. There's all kinds of stuff that can still be done with it. That's just a matter of feeling and balancing after the fact. That's not something that's important now. It's mostly about getting the mechanics correctly and being able to work off of that. Like, this Miasma Tome might be too heavy to make it worthwhile to start with. It might ramp up too quickly with the crit rate. I don't know. That's something that's just something that we have to see later on. Nope. Where did it go? Where did it go? Your biggest problem with weapon weight is definitely how it mostly serves to painfully shaft speedsters like Myrmidons and Pegasus Knights. Yeah, it's with GBA, and not having con is of course a big thing. Also, Starforge, nice to see you in chat. Hope you're doing well, and hope you enjoyed the stream. It currently does only upgrade on player turn. It's a weapon that you have to initiate combat and attack with. That's going to be in the description in the end. Yeah, I like the fact that con isn't related to weapon weight in Radiant Dawn. I don't like the con system of the GBA games. I do think that, like, in vanilla Radiant Dawn and Path of Radiance, it's severely underutilized. I mean, when does pretty much ever weight come up after, like, the second half of the game? For both games, that is. If you have like, you have Soren in Path of Radiance, who's probably going to be the only character in the entire game that's going to have issues with weapon weight, but at some point his speed becomes good enough that he doubles anyways. Like, you shouldn't be surprised in Daybreak that weapons are going to weigh a lot. And please don't take this as for example, the 33 weight tome isn't going to mean the same as like 33 weight units, because the tome isn't as heavy as like Titania or Aran. They are different units of measurement, and I'll try to change how they have a slightly different name. One could be like 33 pounds, the other one could be 33 grams, for example. I don't know. But for example, the brave weapons, and I've had this rant before with gauntlets, but I think the same thing still applies. If you have a brave weapon, make it very heavy, because then your speedsters will be the first ones to probably reach the quadrupling threshold, whereas a slow unit is going to have at least a doubling capacity, but it will scale to the late game. You can give a brave sword early and it's just going to be 2 hits, and then you either get doubled if you're weighed down that much, or you get just hit once, and you won't quadruple. And then later on, suddenly you start breaking those benchmarks, and you start quadding people. And that's when you have like the same weapon, which scales into the late game, and I really like that. No, tomes having weight is a weird thing, and I don't think I'll be able to explain that. I love this this question, and this is a question to all of you. What is heavier? A kilogram of feathers or a kilogram of bricks? Like, which of the two is heavier? A kilogram of feathers or a kilogram of bricks? Just let me know. Because in my opinion, a kilogram of feathers is way heavier. Because you have to live with the weight of what you did to all those poor birds. And that's going to weigh in your shoulders. They're the same kilogram, but one of them weighs you down on an emotional level. And that's going to be the same thing. That's going to be the same thing with the tomes. Whenever you have a tome, like a dark tome, it's going to be it's going to be like the weight of all the pages of all the trees. That's going to be like what you've that's where the weight is going to be from. And yes, I know that was very stupid, but let's go back to a very laggy base, because like this is currently at, with this many units, it's not fast. I'll say that much. It is quite slow. Also, Jackson Horace, or yeah, Jackson Horrocks, nice to see you in chat, hope you're doing well. Here you can see that there's a few issues and a few mistakes, like the capacity isn't correct, and this is a burden skill and this is also a burden skill. They come from the same fierce scroll, and one of them is free and one of them is not. One of them costs capacity. Those are the kinds of things that I have to like remove and change before any of this becomes possible, because currently the free one and the these currently aren't mutually exclusive. Same with retaliate, and that is something that still has to be fixed. Those are like a lot of the skill conditions that I have to add for all kinds of stuff. And what I like is that you can actually have like this fierce scroll, and it allows you to learn either maim, impede, burden, or paralyze when in base. So I can learn this, but I can also learn the maim here, which you can see there's a lot of maims here. Lots of impede, lots of maim, like these are all currently wrong. Let's and if I now want to, I'll have to just equip a few more. And now if I want to, I've pretty much equipped maim twice because I had 2 fierce scrolls from the burden. And now suddenly I can't assign any of those others. But if I remove this maim scroll again, suddenly you can see that I can learn impede again. But if I try to learn impede, then suddenly all the maim skills are also gone. In the end, this should of course be just 4 skills and not like all versions of them. But it means that one item, one skill scroll, can allow you to learn different skills depending on what you need. So do you want retaliation? Do you want having skill? Like there's a lot of things that you can think about, and it allows you to think creatively, but it also places a restriction because you have only one skill scroll, and what skill are you going to turn it in? maybe it is a very big book. You kill a man and 100 pages just fall out. I mean, yeah, you could view it as that, but the pages don't fall out anymore because it has infinite durability. What if it was instead viewed as a power threshold? The power to use as a tome to its fullest requires the constat that we view as something else, like the tome doesn't weigh that much. Yeah, as in the strain of using it is higher or lower. That, like, you could also, I guess you could like think of it as focus for a weapon instead of weapon weight. You have to be X amount of focused to be able to wield it effectively, and then of course the strength mitigation doesn't really hold up entirely, especially not for swords and lances and axes and stuff like that. But the idea is there. It's something that I probably won't be able to change entirely, but I mean, we have some suspension of disbelief. How's it going, Themos? How are you doing? Yeah, being a stronger or longer incantation to cast is also something that works. Like, there's a lot of headcanons. I mean, we always... I should make some a soundboard at some point, but we of course always have the so no, it's lost in books. What have I told about you? I don't know why that came out as half Mickey Mouse, but it was an attempt at a Mia impersonation. Ah yes, comprehension, but that doesn't work because it's weapon weight here. We don't use con in the Tellius saga. We only use it for shoving. But I do like the pun. And Themos, it's going well. I was just talking about how I have this really nifty fierce scroll, as you can see. I can probably go to a slightly bigger stream. Also, we're getting ads in 1 minute, so... Oh Christ, the sun is coming out. That's better. I'll quickly show this in the last 40 seconds. So we have a fierce scroll. As you can see, I can, for example, learn the maim skill, which halves enemy speed, and then if I try to assign it, suddenly all my other options are gone. If I then remove maim and I assign, for example, impede, you can see that if I try to assign, all my other options are gone, including my maim skill. So we're getting ads in 10 seconds. I'm going to be right back. I'll get some extra tea. Don't go anywhere, or do maybe go to the toilet. Don't give them your Bezos bucks. successfully diverted the ad break. Also came at a good moment. I just had to go to the toilet, so I won't have to sit in this chair squirming for minutes and minutes on end. Oh, no. Yeah. I nearly went back to my be right back screen again. I believe, like, yeah, I was showing the... I mean, I am still hydrated, don't worry. I still have, like, my very lovely... lovely beaver, bear, cat, I don't know what it is, glass. But yeah, I have Maim and Burden and a few other options, but currently many of them are still flagged to not be mutually exclusive. And that's something that I have to fix. Some of them actually have to be, if we go to the skills tab, there you are. Okay. If we go to the skills tab and if I search for Maim, I think this currently has a way too long cooldown, like 9 turns for just having enemy skill is kind of absurd. I think this was a different skill at first, but these are all activated by the Fierce Scroll. That's not supposed to happen. What should happen is we have the actual Maim skill, which doesn't even have an icon. And that one shouldn't have a Fierce Scroll to activate it. Now you have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and here we have like F and C, and those are the only two that actually should have something that those should have the Fierce Scroll. Like all of these can go, because this is just the cooldown system that happens on map, and on map we shouldn't be able to equip new skills. So these are all the mistakes and just not necessarily bugs, but just my messiness that I would have to clear and move out. Like this one stays, this one has a capacity and like of 2, because this is like obviously not a very impactful skill. Having enemy skill can be very important, don't get me wrong. If an enemy has at some point 36 skill, you can take away literally 36 hits just by activating this skill, because it's like hit is skill times 2. So if you take away 18 skill, that's 36 hit that you take away from the enemy. That is very valuable. But of course, it does come at a cost, because there are other skills like setting an enemy luck to 0, or the sun just doesn't want to cooperate today. What were the others? Maim, Impede, which is very strong compared to this one, which halves enemy speed. Like that, of course, is probably going to be the most used one. But there are going to be very accurate enemies that you might want to... Maybe they're not that fast and there's an enemy that you really want to be able to have an miss an attack. So these can all go, and then we have, let's see, 7 also doesn't need a scroll, and then this one is C, so that one costs capacity, and then we have the free one, which is when you have it innate. That one is going to have 0 capacity. And that's the way you can differentiate them. And we can also add some prerequisites like SFXC human. And if we checkmark this, then it means that humans can learn this skill, since this is something that humans and Lagouche, or Bjork and Lagouche, should be able to learn. We have SFXC allies as well for the Lagouche, and then if you have this skill, you cannot learn this skill if you have skill Grandeur F equipped. This is just so you can double up on skills. You also can't equip this skill if you have Grandeur C equipped. If you have one of them equipped, you can't equip the other one. And now this is the free one, so I'm actually doing this wrong. This one, like who do we give this to? I would say, for example, we make this one available to Pid Wayu. This is going to be for Mia specifically. If you are Mia, you can learn this. Then we have the costed skill, which we do the same things for, and we add another check that if you have skill ID Grandeur costed, then you can't learn it. And here we add a few check marks. If you are human, you can learn this. If you are a Lagouche, you can learn this. However, if you are PID Wayu, so if you're Mia, you are unable to learn this. And that's how you should be able to create skills that can only be learned by innate users, and skills that can only be learned by pretty much everyone except the innate users. This means that if you take a skill that is innate to someone, Zihark's Adept for example, you can take it away from him, but then later you can give it back to him and it will still cost 0 capacity. And that's the beauty of this entire thing. Oh, come on, the sun is really annoying today. Like, it just needs to go a little bit higher, and then it won't shine into my window anymore. It's currently just low enough to pretty much perfectly go into my window. So we will remove one burden skill, and if done correctly, we can now... Oh, right. This is a mistake, but it's not because of a mistake I made with the skills themselves, but you can see that these currently don't cost anything to equip, because we set it so that there is nothing that needs to be in the inventory or in the convoy to equip this skill. However, you can see that there is only one skill, MAME, that is equipped with the Fierce Scroll. All the other ones are just free because that's my mistake. And that one costs 2 capacity. But if we go to Mia, and I probably should have... Yeah, there we go. If we try to assign it to Mia, then she can take all of these because these are free, and I'll fix that in a moment. But this one, as you can see, doesn't cost any capacity. And if I try to remove it again, you can see that even if I reapply it, it still doesn't cost capacity. So to fix this, then we press new and new over here. Pretty much if you leave these boxes empty, but you do leave a flag that they have conditions to be met, which you can see when the add buttons are highlighted, then it makes the skill locked. And I have to be careful that I don't actually remove the ones by accident that we should have. Mia. Yeah, this one I should skip, and this one I should skip. I'm going to remove some of these later on, or I'm going to implement new skills in the locations of these. But now these should all be locked. And we should have this maim skill fixed so that it only applies 2 skills that you can see. All the other ones are going to be used only during combat with the cooldown system. Yes, the beacons have been lit. Gondor calls for aid. Let there be light. And I do hope you'll enjoy the new emotes. Can go back to base. And now it should work if we go to the correct tab. We remove burden. If I try to apply to Iran, you can see that there's only one maim skill. All of these are still wrong. And this one does cost 2 capacity. Whereas if I go to Mia, this one is free. And that's pretty much the entire system I have to work on. Making all these, like removing all these mistakes, because these would all end up, of course, in the bug reports whenever people get to play this, and I want to remove as much of the, or as many of the bugs that I can before people get to play around with this. Gondor does indeed call for aid. I feel like I'm, like, luckily I don't feel like I'm being cooked alive, but I feel like I'm being blinded. And it's okay if you don't have anything to say, Miro Samurai. If you want to lurk, that's totally fine. There should be an, like, I actually even made an emote if that's... Yeah, I'm not partner yet, so I can't choose my own, like, emote. So, oh wait, you're of course in YouTube chat. Damn it, I have to fix emotes for YouTube at some point. But I did add the lurk emote as well. I found the shin on behind the, hiding behind the tree very fitting. Also, Themos, are you subscribed? I thought those emotes were subscriber only? Because if so, I never noticed, so I don't know if there are YouTube emotes. I may just be chatting shit and not realizing. Then I have not made them as such. I thought I put that in the correct. Like I don't mind the emotes being free to use. I just had like specific sections in Twitch's creator dashboard, and I thought I implemented them correctly. Ah, you can unlock some emotes by using points. That's of course a thing. I never do that when I'm watching Twitch channels myself, so I just didn't think of it. But well, enjoy your Pog and your Glare emotes. They were... Like, the Black Knight has this just really fat image by Sharena, where his mask takes up over half of the... like, the screen of the image that she drew. And I just found it a very funny image. I'll probably at some point get more emotes that are a little bit more fitting and like that may have some impact, like Daybreak related memery or whatnot, but these just seemed like general good usage. YouTube does have emotes, I believe, although I don't know what the prerequisites are. I'll have to look into that. I mean, I have managed to get to YouTube Partner Program, so I should have access to those, and I have these emotes available already, so I don't know why I shouldn't be able to use them over there as well. Okay, it seems like the sun is going behind the clouds just a little bit. Yeah, Daybreak emotes would be nice. Speaking of, in the Daybreak chats channel, I'm because of the YouTube partner program and like getting 1,000 subscribers and getting affiliate here, I would like to do a Q&A video, and I know most of the interest will be about Daybreak, so I would like all of you, if you're interested in that video, to just ask a lot of questions in the Daybreak chat channel. That was like just the Daybreak chats channel, and ask any questions you want. It can be Daybreak related, it can be something else, but if you have any things that you want to know, any burning questions, any secret deep dark desires that you would like to have my opinion on, then just ask away and I will try and make a video on that. I've just been very grateful for all of the support, and I know that there's a lot of interest in all of the 40 times compressed Radiant Dan horse map. But yeah, if there's any questions and burning desires that you want to know, just ask away and I'll see if I can make a fun video out of that. I know that there's just a lot of interest in what I do, which is very nice. And if there's anything that I have missed over the past few months that I haven't addressed, then that would be a great time to go over all of those questions. Not something to make a video about, but you have been tempted to share your art in the channel. I will be updating the Discord pretty soon, or soon TM. I can't make any promises actually. I may just get sick again, but I was planning on adding a few channels here and there and just restructuring it a bit so that crowd control, for example, gets lumped in with the general mods section, and I want to add a few more roles so that people can actually get pinged when I go live on Twitch and stuff like that, so I don't have to ping everyone. I am probably going to just follow a few YouTube tutorials or take one of those Discord templates that people have made and work with that. I want to update it a little bit, see if I can get that going. It's not been the highest on the priority list because I do think that the Discord currently functions well as just a hub for information and lurking for updates, but of course, because I'm now also trying to be a little bit more public with Twitch streaming and the YouTube channel, people coming in might expect a little bit more of a community, and I would like that to allow for a little bit more discussion on general things and sharing fan game concepts or art or whatever. Like, just make like a little more a community hub available as well. And it doesn't have to be a big community, because most of it is still going to be just watching for updates. But a little bit more just general chatting and stuff can still be nice, and I think that's going to be a valuable addition. I was going to take a look, because like, were there any items that still needed, or rather, were there any items that had massive changes since the last time? I don't think so. I am probably going to make one more fire tome, because there's an explosion of fire that wasn't available because it hangs and it just doesn't do damage, but I know how to fix that now, so I'm probably going to be able to add that one as well. It's the explosion in 3-8 when a rock explodes out of the lava and just goes. That fire explosion is able to be applied as well, and it might fit for the eruption spell, for example. Also, I don't know how many of you, I just saw Themos' 40 times compressed Radiant Dawn horse map model again. I don't know how many of you watch Mecha, but there was like this Radiant Dawn stream where at one point during 3-3, I asked him to check the horses, and the race was like question mark, question mark, question mark, which I've actually changed to Warhorse in Daybreak. But I believe it allowed for the... God, what was it again? Was it pony? I don't recall what the emote was, but I just had a horse emote and then 3 question marks. And for like a few months in Mecha's chat, that just every single time people were memeing with like emote with question marks. And I was thinking of making something similar to that for the warhorse in Daybreak. Just a few inside jokes here and there. Also, this isn't necessarily very important, but I'm just very saddened by the fact that Glossary and Groves doesn't fit here. But what I am going to do is make a lot of information available. Currently there's not that much available, but in the character department, you'll have 2 pages for Edward. You'll get Edward 1, which is his biography and like pretty much this. And then Edward 2 is going to be all of his growth rates and his caps. You're going to be able to see all of that. I am going to make effects and like all the effects on weapons, like the blinding effect that light has on swords, lances, and axes is going to be available here as well. There are going to be a lot more useful information pages in the glossary. So please look forward to that, since I've got like pretty much the only version of Paragon that's able to add character or dialogue pages. I'm actually able to do that. Also, just if anyone wants to see how the character tree looks if you before 1-4, you like this only happens because I set the map to 1-4 or to 3-10, so this is how it looks before you get the base in 1-4. Currently it's literally just Jared, Leonardo, Edward, and Micaiah. Like not even Nolan and Soth are in here, which normally of course doesn't happen because you can only see this once you get to a base which is in 1-4. I just took a look at this for no apparent reason and I found it very empty, which just seemed funny to me. And currently my records are prologue Aran, but we're in 310. Create support. Wait. There should be more. Let's see. We have Peleus, who currently has an A support. That is the worst support you could possibly have, apparently. Like 1 defense and 3 avoid, that is absolutely terrible. I might just bump up the supports even a little bit more in upcoming version of Daybreak. Light wind. And I'm really looking into getting negatives here as well. But for some reason, when you look at the hit rate, which now doesn't show a 0 but 2 dashes, it actually does show that you have hit rates, like a hit rate penalty. Here it shows that we have +1 defense, -5 hit, and +3 avoid. This is going to, I'm probably going to modify them a little bit, and I might also add a few more affinities as well, so that I can differentiate them even more. My aim was having, let's see, I would have to go to the affinity bonuses. Yes, this is visible. Currently a fire, thunder, wind, water, dark, light, heaven, and earth, which is called Teleus. And I want to create a few more of them, just because it allows me to differentiate a little bit more. Maybe ice, for example. Like I believe there's a few affinities that are in the FE7 games that aren't here, like the Anima and Ice, I believe, are 2 of them. But currently I have a few that focus on, like, fire focuses on might primarily and neglects defense and avoid. And then dark is the other one that focuses on might, but it has lower penalties. Thunder has a small buff and small penalty, wind has small buff, small penalty, water has small buffs and small penalties. And then light is on the higher end of defense, heaven is on the higher end of hit, and of course earth is on the higher end of avoid. But I do want to maybe add a few more so that I can differentiate them a little bit, and you can actually create cooler combos that try to balance out each other's weaknesses while still focusing on the main strengths. And of course, I might just do a pass over some of the characters because there are some affinities that don't really make sense. Also, I still have I have this random halberdier who is called Halberdier Uran. I don't know if I'd be able to make 72 or 73 different elements. That would probably be a little bit too much. But yeah, it is pretty much a vibe system, and currently I think the buffs are just a little bit too small for the, like if I bump this up to 3 for example, or maybe even 4, I don't know, there's more that I have to think about here, but it's going to be like a balancing act as always, because you'll have items. Oh, you weren't saying make an element for every single character. I thought of that you meant that, like just giving each character an element to associate them with, but you just meant as in one of the existing elements. No, the idea of a unique element for every single unit would be a bit overkill and needlessly cluttering. But yeah, I just have to take a look, see how much supports are going to make an impact compared to the weapons as well. I do actually have one more thing that I can show. Oh right, bear with me while we go through all the rank ups. They also get the wrong Luna skill over there, that's why you get the wrong item. Or the wrong icon, not item. We got Blood Tide. But I gave Gatry a Warp Powder. And there's going to be 2 different ways to warp. The Warp Powder I'm intending to be a droppable item at some point, I won't tell you when. But it is going to massively penalize you. Where is it? But it also gives +4 movement. However, sadly, this one doesn't go over terrain, so it's handicapped warp. Also, yes, Gatry can warp. But there's going to be a skill, and that is going to be the teleport skill or the warp skill, which allows pretty much the same as what the rewarp does for Lacane and Loran, like in the final maps. This is going to be different though. I am going to make a character that is going to be having a warp skill, but that one will also be able to warp over terrain like these trees. That one, of course, is going to be a personal skill. This warp powder, let's see, where's the barn? If I'm going to warp this and trade to barn, you can now see that I no longer have warp powder, I am no longer penalized, but I also no longer have the warp skill and I don't have the bonus movement. Now, Tabarn, of course, is going to be able to warp and he's going to be able to shift. And why do I give this to Tabarn? Well, Tabarn has the highest movement in the base game of 10. So currently he has 14 movement. And yes, Radionon does indeed assign an affinity, which also, if you match that affinity, gives you, in this case water, gives you a small boost of 5 hit and 5 avoid. I'm going to keep it, but I'm not going to change it because it's like 5 hit, 5 avoid is pretty meaningless. Making it 10 already feels like it can swing quite a bit. It can make a big difference. And I don't want something as convoluted as the map affinity to like make or break a character on certain maps. If we look at, like, I know Leonardo is here somewhere. You can see that his you can see with Iran that his thunder affinity doesn't pulsate, whereas the Leonardo one does. How's it going, Malcon05? Hope you're doing well. Good morning to you. No, you can see that if it matches, it actually pulses, and like he does get a small hit and avoid bonus from that. But going back to Tabarn. Yes, good unit indeed. Tabarn is big. Tabarn is a very big movement now. I mean, it does of course cost him like 4 to all of his stats, so it is a big penalty. But this does mean that you can warp long distances. Let's go to the middle of the map. And you can actually warp over a lot of terrain. Like, this is currently Tabarn's movement, which is kind of absurd. I'm not sure if I'm going to make it so that Warp Powder is going to be usable by Laguz. Currently, this is also one of those, like, gameplay story integration things. On one hand, does it make sense that Laguz should be able to use Warp Powder? Maybe not. On the other hand, does it feel bad that you can't, like, give this big movement tech item to only Bjork units? Maybe as well. And I might even up the penalty. Like, currently, of course, Tabarn is very strong, and the enemies are quite weak. They're base Radiant Dawn, almost. But yeah, you can trade around the Warp Powder, and you can make units move further than they normally would. Like, if I give this away to, let's say, who do we want? I want Meg to warp. If I give it to Meg, and you can see with Gatry, he was able to warp previously, now he has to walk. But now we have Meg, and Meg is able to warp over and rescue our halberdier friend. Which I'm going to be very mean. I'm going to put the halberdier friend right here. It is Tabarn. He can snap someone's neck with his pinky fingers. That is true. But it does feel like a very man-made, like a Bjork-made item. It is, and later on it's the rewarp staff, and like Laguz units can't use weapons, but this isn't a weapon, so I'm not sure if it should be usable. Oh, dear friend. He actually managed to survive. Everyone targeted Meg. Teleports behind you. Omaiwamu. Shinnu. And she doesn't do that much damage. You were about to say, Colbert, look out! But yeah, it is indeed the name of the faction. But there are going to be really, there are going to be a few things in this ROM hack that will allow you to look at the enemy and think of like, oh, how do I say this? There are going to be a few things that you might want to see, like, and take a look at all the units. Also, Colbert actually managed to defeat the boss and receive a silver bow. How do I say this? How do I say this? I'm going to give an example. During 312, we learn of the Blood Pact, we learn more about it. Of course, we know that Lacane is blackmailing Peleus, and he says something along the lines of like, we have spies everywhere, yada yada yada. I might, on 312, have all the Dayan army. Everyone is a yellow unit, like, that doesn't change. But then there might be one Dayan army unit who is still in Dayan armor. He's still black, like, still black and gold trim. But his name actually might be Dayan question mark, or like Benyon or something like that, which would mean that he would be like one of those spies who has infiltrated the army. Like, I'm going to play around with some of those names. We know that, like, you know that Goran, of course, is going to feature a little bit more in 1-7. But yeah, it might actually be like fun to look around all the unit names, even for enemies and ally NPCs, just to see if you can find any minor fun Easter eggs. Let's see, we also had Vika. And Vika currently is one of the... Oh, actually I shouldn't... I can shift her just to... Oh, Meg is dead. Let's see, we have Vika, and I believe she currently has the final boss skill. No, she does not. Who does have it? Does anyone have it? Oh yeah, I had a lot of Myrmidon bangles and like all these bonus icons. Someone can use Amiti, which is also nice. But I am actually looking for a Laguz that can attack on player phase. I have -10 and -11. Oh, right, you're rescuing Kurth. That makes sense. No one has the final boss skill? No one has the final boss skill. That's a shame. Halberdier friend managed to make it out. I also think I'm going to crash the game with this, by the way. I just realized I believe this will crash the game. Yeah. That's my bad. And we are not accepting Japanese canon for how the FP9's BK fight ended. That... I accept that it is a valid and technically canon reason. However, I choose to reject it and keep it in the Japanese version only, which this is not based on. We have the localized and way improved canon ending. It does mean, like, the fact that the warp powder drains your energy, that is fine. Even, like, the logic can still apply that. Even if the warp powder drains the energy of the user with multiple uses, the Black Knight was still just way too strong for Ike. He just let him win. Even if the Black Knight wasn't at his peak in FE9, he was still going to be way above Ike's level at that point. There's not going to be any changes to that. I refuse the... I only teleported my armor and my soul, and there was just some random weird naked dude in a Benyon house or tower lying there trying to fight in his mind. No, we're not doing that. No, that was a localization change, and I am all for it. I am On the one hand, I am a fan of the Baruka Saizo support where it's just dot 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 dot, because it's funny. On the other hand, it does take away the characterization that was written by the Japanese script writers, so But no, this is just a good change. We're going to keep it. No, I was thinking like, is there any way this can work? But no, we're just going to keep the localized version. Let's see, this reminds me of something with your Reverie rewrite. There's a general thing of splitting up enemy factions, since that's a big thing in Rev. Like Chapter 12 calls all the enemies tribalists in the original, but in the rewrite some are tribalists and some are Norians. That's like, those are really cool things, that makes sense. Something about the nameless Valite bosses that appear in a lot of chapters. Yeah, you should be able to change the bios for bosses if you can add a few more entries. Like technically I can do the same with the dialogue editor, for example. If I go to the eCommon file, it's a big list. It's a very big list. But here you can see this is MPID Benyon and this is MPID Benyon Armor, which I called Benyon Knight, Draco Knight Mage, Myrmidon. Some of these don't really match up, but it was mostly just so I can differentiate them a little bit, and I can base some of the classes and enemies on certain PIDs. And yeah, that is definitely a possibility. If you can add those entries in, that would make a lot of sense. Also, the description for these would be like MNPID, and then the same thing. If I scroll down a little bit, MJID, M-Item, M-Skill. I may have missed them. But yeah, you can definitely add some extra entries if that's like, if it's possible in the 3DS, and I think it should be. That shouldn't be too difficult to do. Also, I think I've got good news regarding Gatri's tree skill. God, I'm just currently thinking of all the things that I made in Daybreak and like in this file. And there's currently so many mistakes. But like, for example, if we go to Gatri in just a moment, you won't see any skills because he doesn't get them at the start of map. He gets them like at the start of enemy turn, which is weird. Yeah, Blood Tide. We remove Blood Tide. Your capacity is too low. I know. Like, if we go to Gatri right now, he just has Luna. But then if we warp, now he has Chivalrous. And it's also active. He gains additional hit when adjacent to a female ally. He actually currently is. That wasn't planned, now that I think of it, but it also grays out if he's not adjacent. But I may have found a way to do the tree thing without too much coding, because otherwise, like, the options I had, because of the stupid... where is it? In the all function list. Here we have set terrain data, but we don't have the get terrain data. Like, that one doesn't exist. But I found in the Ghidra file a map get terrain function that just isn't used anywhere in the script file, so I never knew that it was there, but it's in the main doll file. It's in the main doll file, so I might be able to actually pull up the data of terrain tiles and use them for Gatri's skill. Oh, if you don't know the inside joke, Mirror Samurai, this is a conversation. Also, the sun has gone. Let's give me some light again. Like, probably in just like a few seconds, I'm going to have the sun come out again and I'll be blinded. But there is a conversation between Gatry and Shinon, and Gatry is talking about how he met the girl of his dreams, and she's amazing, and she's fantastic, and she's so beautiful, yada yada yada. And Liar comes into frame, and he is dumbstruck, like he is speechless. Liar is offended about something Shinon said. Shinon starts to say something like hairball and here kitty cat, and just starts taunting Liar, and she's almost going to transform and kill him when Keisha comes into frame, and she's like, nope, you're not going to do that. Come with me, apologize to the racist Bjork. And she's very mad about that. During this entire time, Gatry is still speechless. At the end, Shinon says like, you're awfully quiet. Please don't tell me that was the girl you were talking about. And he just goes, Liar. Her name was Liar. So beautiful. What a beautiful name. And Shinon in the end goes, my god, Gatry, you're deplorable. You'd hit on a tree if I dressed it in a skirt. Tell me I'm wrong. Which has created a meme and an inside joke for those that played Radiant Dawn. It's kind of like the level with the Ike is the father of Soph's children joke that Micaiah says. The tree in a skirt is a joke that happens to have even more of an impact because he is of course called Gatry. And I was thinking of making this personal skill that he gains hit when adjacent to a female ally, and that he gains crit when adjacent to trees. However, due to this stupid stuff here, only being able to set the terrain data and not being able to get the terrain data, I wasn't able to make a function that pulls up this tile, which is like the tree tile. And then the idea was, if tile is this, and if Gatry is on tile adjacent to that tile, so north, south, west, or east, in this case east isn't possible, but like if he was here, or here, or here, or here, or anywhere on the tiles where he would be next to a tree, he would get a bonus to crit. The problem with that was, and maybe still is, I haven't tested this yet, but let's assume that there is no possibility, like that map terrain, getting the map terrain doesn't work. Let's assume that's currently the fact. If we assume that is true, then I can make it work, but then I would just have to make a code that checks, is Gatry on this tile, or 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 this tile. I would have to go around every single map on, like every single tile on every single map, and check if it's adjacent to a tree, which in this map is quite a few tiles, like this one, and this one, and this one, and this one, and this, and this, and this, and this, and this one, and this one, and this one, this one, this one. You get the point. I would have to create code that just checks if Gatry is on any of those tiles, and if that is the case, then he gets X amount of crit, or he gets something else. Which is just a big hassle, because it's a lot of tedious busy work, instead of, if unit is adjacent to a tile, that is a tree tile, or a mangrove tile, or like whatever kind of tile that I would be able to qualify as a tree. Even like the fallen logs for in 3-7, where you break into like the what's it called, the defensive barrier, like those wooden logs, the defensive barrier, where the Dawn Brigade is behind in 3-7, and where they are on the island in 3-6. Like, even those could count for all I care. But I would have to count all of those manually, and if that's the case, I probably won't do it. But if I can just say, like, if you get this kind of terrain, then if Gatry is next to a tile that has that terrain, then he gets it. Does Radiant Dawn get regular forest terrain tiles? No, not necessarily. It's pretty much like these trees, because you don't get the forest tiles as in GBA. Those are thickets in Radiant Dawn. Like, you have thicket tiles, not on this map, but You have heal hedges and thickets, and those are we boost your avoid a little bit because you're in a forest. Also, I told you, the sun is back. I told you. Micaiah says, what? My stream was loading? Oh, Micaiah at some point in 1-4, Soth goes on like this praise marathon about how he talks about Lagoose and not about subhumans nowadays because of Ike and how great Ike was. And she's like, yeah, but he's still the person that like kind of ruined our country. And he says like, yeah, but this and this and that. And then he goes at some point like, oh yes, Ike, savior of Crimea, defeater of Dayan, and father of Soph's children. It's a rather famous quote in Radiant Dawn, and it's like part of what makes Micaiah rather sassy at times. She doesn't really get to express that any further later on in the game because she gets possessed and she gets kicked out of the spotlight by Ike, which of course we will have to remove and change a little bit in Daybreak. Yeah, terrain effects still exist. And really cool. Did I do that with? Give me a second. I don't know if I did this already. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I definitely can. I am going to quickly change my skill or the coding for the Shine Tome. And this is going to be on a dark tome, but it's currently like I have the function of the code in my dark magic, or rather in my Shine Tome, because I was just testing stuff out. I want some of the weapons to use the same properties as the Shine Tome, where if you kill unit, then do this, and then don't do it until effect is gone. So instead of setting a shine barrier, we're now going to set something else, and it's going to take a little while. You could make him an exclusive tree affinity with a map affinity for tree on the first map Gatry and Lyre appear with special meme dialogue. Maybe in a Kaizo hack. Maybe like in a weird meme hack that would work. Okay, so Micaiah is here. You are a little bit too strong. I can do this. Whoop. That works, and we'll chip you down with a silver knife. With a bronze knife, because I don't want you to accidentally crit. Okay, oh yeah, the tutelage skill is still going to... it's still going to Peleus, which isn't entirely what it should do. But I used the Shine Tome, and it's, as you can see, nothing has happened here, it looks like. However, these are all plain tiles. Like, take a look in the upper left corner. Plain, 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 plain. But where the warrior was standing is now a river tile, which grants -10 avoid. Now, this of course doesn't look like a river. And it's not entirely the kind of terrain that I want to use. However, I can change the terrain. I can change the terrain to different things. I just need to have a continuous animation that plays on the tiles that are affected. But I could make like a waste tile that applies like -2 defense, -2 resistance, and -15 avoid, as long as it also is able to play an animation the entire time, so you can see which tiles, so you can see which kind of tiles are changed by that tome. Because if it's going to be a hidden thing, like currently you wouldn't be able to see that this currently has -10 avoid, So I want to have a visual indicator, but I want to make a dark tome that is going to apply different effects, or maybe a fire, like a fire tome that is going to light certain tiles on fire. And then if they're on fire, you take damage if you stand in that area. I want to do more with terrain. Those are all kinds of things I want to do, and apparently I can do some of it, but I haven't figured out how to make the animation work for this yet. So yeah, plenty of stuff to do, plenty of ideas, and it will take a little while before I manage to get the entire thing up and running, but I'm like hyped and pumped to get this into your hand so you can playtest and like do fun stuff with this. Also, an ad is coming in 35 seconds, so just letting you know, and I'll be right back again. I'll get some tea and whatnot, so make yourself comfy, maybe get something, a bite to eat or whatnot, and just enjoy the Be Right Back calendar, and you can place your bets on if it's going to be male or female Byleth, or if they're going to be enlightened or normal. In any case, I will see you in just a moment. Back. It's actually gone longer than the ad break. I'll have to refill my... There it is. Refilling my juice. Oh, yeah, nice. We're bashing Byleth in the comments in the chat. I'm all for that. Byleth, of course, only got their position because of Rhea. No other reason. But Christ, 3 Hopes did so much to improve Byleth as a character. Let's see, were there any other interesting things? Because mostly I've been just showing stuff, which, you know, is fine. But definitely I need to start coding at some point as well. Probably not going to happen this stream anymore. I'll have to I have to leave at a certain point. We're going to get pizza today. But let's see, were there any other interesting things left over? Oh, I added with Mist the Claymore, which is a Path of Radiance weapon. I just need a horse to actually do some meaningful damage, and there are no horses left except down here when they spawn in a few seconds. Yeah, it was just normal male Byleth. Let's see, we have the Claymore. We deal a pitiful 5 damage. I never said Mist was good. And we also don't have animations, but... This is just a very stupid thing. I never knew until recently that the Claymore is a weapon that... Like, I knew it existed in Path of Radiance, but I couldn't find it in the weapon models. And this is because this stupid sword is named in Path of Radiance the Horse Killer. And that's, you know, fine and dandy. It's just a nice sword. Actually, I may get a better view if I attack from the side. Yeah. Back. You can see that there's like a few gray squares. I'm going to try and patch those out at some point. Having the extra models, like some of the models from Path of Radiance have this, having those in, to me, is more important than not having, like, unique models on weapons that might not be perfect. There's a few that have this, but this sword is called the Horse Killer in Path of Radiance. And that's fine, because in Radiant Dawn it doesn't exist. However, the Horse Slayer, the lance, like the big one that they use in jousting, which is horse effective in Path of Radiance, it's called the Night Killer. Okay, so far so good. In Radiant Dawn, that Horse Slayer is called the Horse Killer. So I thought, hey, Horse Killer in Path of Radiance, there's a Horse Killer folder in Radiant Dawn. I don't have to copy that over because it's the same, but it was not. So I was porting over all these new weapons and models and stuff like that. Turns out I missed one because it's a sword in Path of Radiance and it has the same name, but it is a different item in Radiant Dawn. So what I did is I copied the Night Killer into the Radiant Dawn folders, renamed the Horse Slayer to that internally, named it the Night Killer, and from there on I added the Horse Killer as a sword and that became the Claymore. So now we have both. And yeah, there is a small black box or a grey box every now and then. It's not something I am overly worried about. Also, waffles are amazing. These are chocolate, not blue. Oh, right, and we crash. Oh, no, we don't crash. The Claymore is pretty much the Zanbato, or I don't know if it has any other names, but it's a horse effective weapon. The Silver Blade is going to be different. Yes, the horse killer. The Flux Blade, it currently has a drain effect, but... or it should have. Maybe it even does. Yes, they're both effective against mounted units. Like, that was the weirdest part. It's just that the Horse Slayer in Radiant Dawn internally is called the Night Killer, and the Horse Slayer internally in Path of Radiance is called the Horse Killer. Yeah, Mist has 12 strength. She has 27 magic. I believe this currently gives like minus 13 magic for some reason, I don't know why. Like the Brave Sword does 0, but the Floret does a lot of work. It does light damage, it has the blinding effect. Yeah, magic swords will be good for Mist. Edward, for example, is going to have a very low magic growth, so he's going to be primarily a melee combat sword specialist. It's still going to work like the same as, like, the animation isn't going to be different. But now it actually does what it said it was going to do in the US version. That was actually fixed in PAL. And there's a few other things you can see here as well. For example, if we equip the Flux Blade, we have 19 attack because it's 5 might and 14 hit. Or 14 magic. And 11 resistance means that we probably would do 8 damage. But you can see that we do 14, which is part of the Flux Blade's effect, which is the Vanquish icon. That means items with Vanquish deal 6 extra damage to swords, lance, and axe users. So even though we only should have done 8 because of Vanquish, we actually do more. And it just has a cool animation with the... what's it called? I believe that's Bane. Yeah, it is currently chugging along. It does have some issues with crashes. Probably just because there's so many characters on the map. Luckily, I've made a save state. Hello, Rom. I need Jill. Where's Jill? I think Jill... no, not Jill. Who has axes? Nolan and Boyd? Boyd has poleaxe. Let's see, Boyd. You have the Fiend Axe? I don't think that's the one I'm looking for. No? Also not what I'm looking for. Who has the... Who did I put it on? That's a good question. Kieran? Nope. Did I even put the weapon I'm looking for onto someone? Surely I should have. Titania? Yeah, the Devil Axe. There we go. See your resident liability. Have a nice night. Have a nice sleep. and we will see you next time. I was looking for the Devil Axe. Currently it doesn't do anything back to the user, I believe, but I just really like the effect and I love this weapon. I'm actually going to try and attack from a different side so that we can see it a little bit better. Like, this was in Path of Radiance and it just wasn't used. Yeah, there we go. Let's maximize this. That doesn't work. For some reason, it just suddenly got switched to monitor off. Okay, hopefully this changes. I don't know what OBS was pulling with that, because I didn't do anything. I guess it's good now? Yeah, okay. If you could let me know where I was, like, before I cut out. Because I don't know, sadly. Like, I was talking about the Devil Axe, and from there on I was going through chat, mostly talking about Mist and debating whether or not I wanted to have her start as a cavalry unit and then stay like cavalry into cavalry or infantry into cavalry as it currently is, which makes her a bit more unique. And like maybe magic weapons were overkill on Fates, but they are indeed a lot of fun to use. The Shining Bow should be somewhere. It's probably on Shinon or Rolf, because those were the two I loaded out. Nope. Is it on Astrid? Where, oh where is my pony? Yeah, bright bow. Here we go. This is a thing that I sadly cannot do yet. I don't know how to do it correctly. That's how I should say it. And I can probably pause the screen so that we can get a good look at the shining bow. But currently I'm not able to add any effects to the arrow without I didn't have the ability to add any effects to the arrow hit effect, which is different from the bow itself. Like with the devil axe, you saw the animations when I hit someone with the devil axe. But with the arrows, it's the arrow that applies the hit. Sadly, if I apply an animation to that, it goes into an overdrive state where it applies its hundreds of times per second instead of just once. So you get pretty much a nuclear explosion. There is a video of that, and I might be able to find it, but I'm not sure. I may have made a video on it myself as well, but it's pretty much Joffrey's lance turns into a tactical nuke or something like that. Let's see if I can find it real quick. Yeah, I found it. First try. Okay, this is just a normal YouTube link, don't worry about it. This is pretty much the effect that happens. Let's see, am I able to pull that up as well on screen? Yeah, there it is. That is that is pretty much what it does. That is quite the explosion. What happens there? Because this is just a piece of Fire Emblem Radiant Dawn trivia. Javelins and lances are actually coded differently. They are literally coded, one is coded as like a spear and one is coded as a lance. You can easily set the difference between them, and if you change all of the lances that are 1 range into 1-2 range without changing that property, you get that effect. However, if you change a lance like the steel lance to 1-2 range and you also change the property so that it behaves as a spear, there's no problem. You just chuck it, no issue. The thing with arrows is that the animation for the arrow is applied separately as the arrow, and it is not connected to the bow at all. So yeah, I have the bright bow here, but sadly it doesn't do anything in combat, because if I were to give it an animation, you'd get the same explosion as what you just witnessed with Joffrey's lances. This means that if correctly, I don't know if I kept it, but I may have. This should still have an animation. Yeah. Currently this is the Frey Bomb animation. I have repurposed this by now into a fire tome. The blue fire, but that was what I originally had for the bow, and it works on map, but that doesn't quite translate to combat animations, where it would just apply it like a million times. You'd get 5 FPS while you just hear the from the hit being applied all those times. Not a fun experience. I speak from I speak from a place where I have seen this way too many times because my computer almost crashed. But we do have a really cool Brightbow model and icon, which was just unused in Path of Radiance. And it's going to be light magic. Currently it's pretty high level. And we have our big friend here who can wield the Lugnasad. And if possible, I would eventually like to give this some magical properties. You can see as well with the Slumber here, like usually Deadeye activates, and normally that pling and the animation, the blue effect happens on the unit that activates it, but because it's not going to be a mastery anymore, it is going to apply on the target it hits and put them to sleep. How's it going, Sang Noble? Hope you're doing well. Don't mind me eating just a little bit of chocolate waffle. We've just been going through the entire map with all the changes I've made. And we are currently not yet at the stage where I can show it to other people or present it to other people as a playable product, but there are a lot of things like teleporting Gatry with the Warp Powder, and the Warp Powder being something that you can actually trade around. So if we take a look, this is going to be a very big beefy movement range because Tabarn has 10 move and the Warp Powder grants him additional 4 movement. It does come at the cost of like -4 to every single stat. But as you can see, he has some movement range. And if we want to take a stab at one of the enemies, then he can actually warp over, I should say. I don't know if he actually has Canto with this now. Does that work? Oh yeah, enemy can attack me. So if I attack here, do I still get my Canto and do I warp away with that? I still warp away. Yeah, so it all works as intended. The only thing is you cannot warp over terrain, which does of course seem a little bit weird. It's just that is something that is done with terrain costs, and adding a skill doesn't actually change any of that. So it's a concession I had to make, but it makes the unique skill of being able to teleport very valuable, because that character who is going to get that is going to be able to teleport across great distances, but also ignore any terrain penalties, just like a flying unit. So yeah, there's lots of stuff to be excited about. I'm also, this is pretty much going to be, sadly for you, Sang Noble, like I'm nearing the end of the stream, because I'm going to get pizza not that far from now, and just going into town for that. But I do have, oh no, please don't. Like, this is actually what I wanted to talk about. I have to also go into town and get a new mouse, because it's starting to lose its reaction. And I tried cleaning it with dust. Maybe like the clicker doesn't really react that well because something is in the way, but it seems like it's nearing the end of its life. If I try to go into paint, and I try to draw like a squiggly line, it just has a lot of little breaks in it. And that pretty much leads me to like a great segue. It's almost it's like I'm sponsoring myself. If you've enjoyed the stream, or anyone for that matter, if you do want to subscribe or anything like that, anything and everything is pretty much going back into either Daybreak or stream setup so that I can work on making Daybreak the best possible experience. And just other than that, like, thank you for all of your support. I will have a few videos out soon. The shorts will also continue. I'll be shitting on engaged characters again. And if you want to like help out, you can also now get some fun new emotes by subscribing on Twitch, and I'll try and get those working on YouTube as well. I have like, I'm working on some of that stuff. I'm trying to reorganize the Discord a little bit, make that more inviting. And yeah, just please bear with me, and I'm glad you're all excited about the stuff that I do. And I'll be answering any and all questions. For those that haven't heard that, I asked it in the stream earlier. If you have any questions regarding Daybreak or anything else, if you want to know some stuff, my credit card information you will not get. But normal questions, please ask them in the Daybreak chats channel, and I will be doing a Q&A video soon because I got to the 1,000 subscriber mark in YouTube and the affiliate here on Twitch. And I just want to say thank you, answer some burning questions and some deep dark desires that you may have had. So yeah, that's been pretty much all from me. I'll quickly answer Sang Noble's question. You just want to know if it's possible to change the color of the units, like player face is green, enemy is yellow, and other and blue reinforcements are red. I'll probably take that. Please ask it again in the Daybreak chats channel, and I'll maybe take it into the Q&A video, if that's okay. And that's been pretty much it for me, and I hope you've all enjoyed. And you'll see me back Thursday. Yeah, see you, Garrett. Have a nice day, and to everyone else, thank you for tuning in.